Hello, this is Soundout here, and welcome back to Model Kit Monday. Today we'll be taking a look at the high-grade Build Fighters Build Burning Gundam and Try Burning Gundam. These two kits are very similar, so I didn't really want to cover them in separate videos, as they share a lot of parts. So I thought, hey, let's cover them both in the same video. So without further ado, let's take a look at the Burning Gundam. So here is the Build Burning Gundam and the Try Burning Gundam. When you have them side by side, you can relatively tell the differences. This guy's got a lot more armor and a lot more blue particle pieces, while this one's a lot slimmer. Now, the Try Burning Gundam is the natural upgrade to the Build Burning, and for the most part, most people will just pick up the Try Burning at this point. When we didn't know that Try Burning existed, the Build Burning served more of a purpose, but I think that there's still some place in a collection to own the Build Burning, especially if you want to pull off more martial arts poses. As you can see, they're both red and white Gundams, which is really nice, with the nice blue accents. And when you're looking at them side by side, you can kind of see where the upgrades have occurred. There's shoulder pieces are different. The white sections were all white over here now, have blue scattered about. The heads are the same. The chest is roughly the same, with new upper shoulders and a different colored piece in the middle. The waist sections are the same. Minor differences. Basically, a lot of the parts are very similar, and they are similar builds. There are some minor differences here, like the legs and the arms. Other than that, it's all panel changes. Also, the Try Burning ends up being slightly shorter when you don't have it posed properly, I'm sure. But as you see on the back here, you got new backpack pieces. I kind of like this one better. This one's a little standard. But it is neat to own both for me, because I really like Burning Gundam in all its incarnations. So take a look at the articulation using the Build Burning, as it is a little bit more mobile than the Try Burning. The head up here is on a ball joint that works really, really well. It also has a separate neck piece, so it does have forward and back motion, as well as some left and right. You have a ball joint shoulder. Now you gotta be careful with this guy, because shoulders pop out that easily. The socket in here isn't very deep, which is quite an issue. I really wish it was a little deeper, but this does allow for you to have quite extensive arm movements. You just got to be really careful. The joint here as well allows for further in-front arm poses, which is really good, but you got to be careful. It's not as action figure-y as some might think. Outward shoulder movement, you got a swivel at the shoulder, you got a double joint elbow, you got a ball joint wrist, and you have a wrist joint on all the hands except for the open hands. Then you have a double ball joint here on two polycaps, so you have a lot of ab movement. You got outward leg movement, you got forward leg movement, you got slight backward movement, and you get a rotation here, a double jointed knee, a ball jointed ankle, and then this piece is on a ball joint. So it's a really deep ankle bend as well, I must say. They actually put it on the polycap in here is one of those ball joint connectors. They're usually used for like shoulders and stuff. They put it in the foot so you can get some wide range of posability out of this guy, as long as you're careful not to knock any pieces off. It can be tricky because of those ball joints, and also because of the particle pieces. They do fall off sometimes, which is an issue with both kits. Pieces falling off is probably the biggest problem with either of the burnings. And that's pretty much all there is to articulation. It's the same for both. Neither really is more restricted than the others, but yeah, it's pretty good articulation, but it is kind of disappointing that you can't really just pose this guy in the ways you might want to without having to worry about parts falling off or, shoulders coming out of place. But he does make up for that in his accessories. This is a Gundam designed to have no weapons. So how does he have more accessories than the Lightning Gundam? Well, first of all, you get cool karate chop pose hands, which are pretty neat, and you get some neat splayed hands. Plus those extra wrist joints are really appreciated. You also get open hands for holding things, giving him little guns if you want to weaponize him with a sword or something. They might come in handy in a later version of the Burning Gundam, but for now, they're kind of useless on these two kits. And the handset is the same for both Gunpla, so If you have one, you can swap them out with the other. But, again, identical hand sets. But hands are not all these kits come with, as when it's time to activate your Jingen Haoh school of Kenpo, you want to make sure that you're not all blue. You need to be burning red with fire. And both of these have fire attachment pieces. Now here's the Build Burning Gundam in its fire mode, as I call it. Both of them have upgrades to where the blue pieces turn to orange, and then he gets more power with the burning power. And as you can see here, pretty much all that happened was all the blue on him has been replaced with orange. And this is really simple to do. Most of these are just, you take this out, you pop that piece out, and you swap it out for the other color. Really, really simple on this guy, and I like it because it's easy to convert between modes. And it's only 6 pieces, I think? Yeah, 6 pieces to remove. And that's about it for the basic mode, his unique parts. Now there are a bunch of fire effects, but I want to look at those with Try Burning since they are the same between the two kits. But let's take a look at Try Burning's fire mode. Now Try Burning Gundam's fire mode is really a fire mode. This thing is intense. There's flames everywhere to try and replicate the show's fire coming from every one of the particle emissions. It really, they did their best here, and I think it did turn out well, but it almost is a little bit overboard up in the upper torso. It's fine in the legs and the arms, but I feel like the shoulder area just has like a lot of fire coming out. A little bit of the flame needs to be a bit toned down. But there are no basic orange pieces without flame on them, which is fine, because honestly, this looks really cool. Plus, it instantly distinguishes it from the regular Build Burning, as this one's the one with all the fire. And you know, that's the Try Burning. So there is that, and it's really, really cool, and I do like it. It's got kind of a phoenix wing motif going on with the shoulders, which is neat. But yeah, it's super cool. But that's not all the fire these two come with. So both Build Burning and Try Burning come with fire effects for the Ring of Fire, which can be either configured as a Ring of Fire replicating the original Burning Gundam's heat end, or you can have it as really cool wing design with flames shooting out the back. And they are articulated at 3 different hinges, plus have a couple different connection points. They're really cool, especially since it's the same one for both, so you can give a mixture of the two if you'd like, for either or. It's a really neat piece that has a lot of range of posability and a lot of display options. Now the next piece in the fire set is the Fire Punch. You get 2 with each Burning Gundam, and they work either as an individual piece or with these cool flame pieces that are a little tricky to put in, and there's a lot of them, so you do get some options of length of flame, but they do work really well in conjunction with the other fire effects. Plus, you can connect them to pretty much any Gunpla that uses the standard ball joint, as inside is just a clear orange Burning Gundam hand, and it just goes and slides into there, and now you get a fist. So you could put that on, say, the original Burning Gundam if you'd like. Now that is not the only fire attack piece, and as cool as fire punches are, there's one better. What's even better is this flaming kick effect. It looks really good, and having the big fire parts give it motion and energy. This is awesome. This burning kick piece is great, but you will need some kind of stage. I'm using a GP base, and honestly, you're going to need something to hold him up, because this is just not as cool if he's laying on the ground. I think the kick effect even looks better than the punching effect, as the punching effect has orange hands, while this actually shows the color of the foot through the fire. It's actually a really neat effect. But that is just about all the 2 Burning Gundams come with. So overall, the Build Burning Gundam and the Try Burning Gundam are fantastic high-grade kits. They've got super articulation when you're careful not to pop joints out. They got a lot of great detail and interesting build, and a ton of fire effects. Like, there are so many effect parts for this guy, it's kind of crazy. And I'm really impressed overall. But when it comes down to which one do I recommend more, if you don't prefer one or the other, it's best to just go with the Try Burning. It comes with a lot more. It's the upgraded version that was used for the second half of the show, and it's going to be your best bet, I think. It's newer as well, so it does help there. But if you want to save a couple bucks, get the Build Burning. Either way, I'm glad I own both, but it's not necessary to own both. You can just own one and be perfectly fine, I think. But I can never be satisfied with just 2 Burning Gundams. And maybe one day we'll have to take a look at the master of the Burning Gundam. But that will save that for another day. Anyways, I'd highly recommend both kits, but the Try Burning is going to be the one I think most people are going to go for at this point. So that's it for this week on Model Kit Monday. I think next week we should continue Team Try Fighters. Stay tuned for Lightning Gundam Full Burn. And be sure to check out HeroTaku.com for all your Gundam news and more. And always check out the other Gunpla reviews going up there from my friends. And it's nice to sound saying goodbye.